Okay. Coming back, Bradley. So, visual elements. Yes, visual elements are used in both advertisements. Put in a bit more comparative conjunctions, Bradley, to spark a range of emotions in the viewer. Okay. Now, you haven't actually analysed any visual elements in this section, Bradley. You're going to have to do some work on this. You say the first advertisement doesn't use many visual elements, and as there's no colour and no real images or writing. Well, there is. Yes, it's a photo of a phone, the price, and a passage. I don't know what you mean by that. It's a sophisticated advertisement for the time at which it was created. Again, you're misunderstanding. The use of black and white symbolize difference in time. No, it doesn't. We had colour in the 1980s. We're not quite the dinosaurs that you think we were. The creators of the advertisement have used black and white for a specific reason. Okay, so you need to be using a lot more language, technical language from your Elements of Visual Language handout, Bradley. And you need to be looking at the examples of how you use that language on the two annotated advertisements that are attached. Not to mention the annotated advertisement that we did in class that I also gave you a hard copy of. So this section needs more work. You need to look at lighting and colour. Okay, so the background and the foreground. In the Nokia advertisement, they use black in the background. What does that do? Does it focus your attention on the close-up of the product, the phone? There's nothing in between your sightline and the product, Bradley. That means that is the focus. Look at the difference between the Nokia black and the Apple white. Black, if you look at the document that's on Sector, it's been there for 3 weeks now, about colour in advertising. Black is usually often associated with luxury. White is associated with simplicity and purity. So this is why Apple have chosen white. It's the simplicity of use of their product. It's deceptively simple. Look at the lighting on the Nokia to highlight it. Let's have a look. If you look at this, the black background, the white font, and the relief, so that really highlights the product. Look at this shiny reflection. Again, that's special effects. What's the effect of that? It's highlighting what at the time was an incredibly sophisticated product. The black seems to be symbolizing the idea of luxury. I think it's also masculine. This is not aimed at women and children. This is a very masculine phone aimed at business leaders. Again, think of the stereotypes of the time. Look at the font choice. It's find out what it is, but look at the infographic that I gave you. But the choice of font is all highlighting the brand, the font that's used in the brand. So what does this do? Again, it reinforces the viewer's ability for brand awareness and recognition. Look at the way the light falls on it. It's got a sort of very clever way of lighting that means that's really what stands out. Similarly, if you look at the Apple, it's very similar, but in different ways. The background is white to emphasize its message of simplicity and purity, but it is also very high tech. You've got the silver of the phone. Look at the Word document that I uploaded. Silver is about sophistication and technology. And again, in the same way, they've chosen the same font as the brand. This is a very simple font. Apple is all about simplifying smartphones. Here, at this time, it was all about how clever and how technologically advanced was it. So you need to be looking at this. You haven't mentioned the fact that they're both close-ups on the product. The product is what's in view. If you look at the sight lines of this, you've got this sort of triangle coming down from the name of the product at the top, iPhone 5. This triangle that's formed by the font actually draws your eye down to the product here. You've got the front, you've got the back. It's highlighting how slim it is. It's highlighting how smart it is. You can see the product. And your sight line is drawn down. In this case, you can see the product. The sight lines aren't quite so much drawn down. That's the kind of thing you need to be looking at, Bradley. More work needed here. I've written a few notes, but you need to go back and look at this. Look at the camera shots and angles. Are they close-ups, mid-shots, etc.? All right, language features. The idea is not to sell a phone from years ago. The idea is to sell the Nokia mobile phone. Okay, so you've got to clear all this up. I've highlighted it throughout, but you need to go back and make sure that you're not making that mistake all the way through. Now, does the iPhone ad use formal language, which is easy to read? What are you saying here? The font is easy to read, or the language is easy to understand? Two different things. Loving it is easy. That's why so many people do. Seems to me like simple, colloquial language, which creates a chatty relationship between the audience and the phone. So what are they doing? They're breaking down that barrier, that technological barrier between their audience and the phone. This phone is simple. It's really clever and technologically advanced, but it's really simple to use, and therefore we love it. And that's why so many people do. All right? So you need to be clear. This is simple, colloquial language. And what desire or value is it appealing to? Again, it's this idea. Everybody loves it. So why aren't you? So that's why you should love it. You want to be part of the cool crowd or the people who know best. Just coming back to language features. So you need to change all of this, which I've highlighted. Just be very short, clear, and to the point, okay? So it's not using formal language. I think the Nokia ad is using more formal or more technological language, which in advertising we call jargon. New activation, minimal service required from Highland. Highland was obviously a provider at the time. So what it's doing is it's saying that it's easy to use as well as everything else. So you're going to need to do a little bit more work on the language because there's not much language used, but you still need to. So this one, the Nokia, is focusing on the technical jargon. Okay? Why should you use this? Because it's easy to use, it's got great service and a new way of activating. iPhone, why would you use this? Because everyone loves it. Okay? And why do you think it's easy to love it? Probably because it looks good and it is really good. You can talk a little bit in the visual elements about the interactive icon, okay? The learn more. Okay, to conclude, well, you say the most effective ad is the Apple. You don't like the Nokia phone ad, that's clear, but you haven't actually analysed it within the context of the time. So you need to relook at your conclusion. I think you need to probably say that it was a very effective advertisement for the time. However, what is interesting here is you're looking at the changes in both technology and the sophistication of advertising, which is very clear to see between the two ads. You can, of course, say that from your perspective, the Apple phone, the Apple advertisement is the more effective, but make it clear that you understand, because you are looking at it from the perspective of a target audience of this generation. You are more sophisticated. Your understanding of technology is more sophisticated. Technology has completely changed since the 1980s. We are in an era where technology is an integral part of our everyday lives. So show your understanding of that. Okay, so on the whole, Bradley, I'd say you have done a fairly good, okay job, but you need to really make sure that you are tidying up visual elements, being more analytical on your language analysis, and just be careful about this social context. Okay, any problems? Just send me an email. Happy drafting.